Welcome back to my Fistful of Toes Rules series. It has been a while. Today we will cover movement and unit cohesion. In the turn, we have 1. Placed attacker reinforcements, 2. Removed defender suppression A markers, 3. Removed sustain barrages and its effects, 4. Rolled, placed, and resolved new artillery strikes, and 5. The defender has resolved any Overwatch fire in their first Overwatch phase. Now, the attacking player begins their movement phase. Players move as many of their stands as they wish in a turn. Stands may pass through other friendly stands for free. As a general rule, stands are moved one at a time and complete their move. This rule is per player, so multiple players on the same side may move at the same time. This merely stops players from forgetting moving stands. When moving, remember that infantry stands have no front, and vehicle stands may pivot at no cost, and those that do pivot in place do not count as moving in the firing phase. Mobile stands are labeled in their data sheets with markers that change their costs when moving across different terrain. Infantry always use leg movement rules unless they are being transported. Stands with a lowercase t are tracked, a W are wheeled, an H use helicopter rules, HT are half tracks, and X are towed weapons. Those with an A are amphibious and can cross streams and rivers. Stands with a blank X can move that amount using leg rules. Those with a 0x are towed only and can only pivot after dismount. Note that stands with a P are air mobile, but a P on the terrain chart means that it is an impassable to that unit type. To determine your movement, look at your scenario datasheet under Move. These movement points are only tracked during movement, do not hold over into other phases or turns, and are, quote, expended at different rates across different terrain. Complex? Not necessarily. This BMP 1D has 11 movement points and is labeled tracked/amphibious. For this movement, I will reference the terrain effects chart. Here, this BMP1 company thunders across some clear grass. This low grass costs 1 movement point, so it uses 2 movement points with 9 remaining. Next, it crosses through a 1-inch township to get on the road. The town costs 2, so the BMP has 7 movement points left. The BMP pays half price to use roads, so it moves 6 inches at a cost of 3 movement points. With a final 4 movement points left, they pivot off the road and cross an amphibious-only stream at the cost of 4 points per inch. The BMP-1 ends its movement on the opposite bank of the 1-inch stream. Strategic movements are a great way to move units quickly around the battlefield, but leave the units very open to attack. Units that move strategically double their movement, but must adhere to these rules. 1. The unit has to start more than 10 inches away from enemy stands. 2. It cannot move within 10 inches of an enemy stand, seen or unseen at any point during its move. 3. It cannot fire during its movement phase. And 4. It cannot hold fire or participate in Overwatch. Units that strategically move are vulnerable to attacking units who get a +1 to hit, and the moving unit suffers a -1 to quality checks. Units dropped off or unlimbered during a strategic movement are not counted as having strategically moved, although if it has remaining movement points after its dismount, it can use the remaining points in its own strategic movement. Generally, towed units cannot unlimber and fire in the same turn. Infantry can fire in the same turn that they dismount. Infantry that have organic mobility like motorcycles or bicycles are simply assumed to quickly dismount on contact with the enemy at no cost. Infantry, weapons teams, or towed weapons pay 2 movement points to embark or disembark, as well as the carrier. Infantry carriers that only embark or disembark are not counted as having moved for the purposes of overwatch and fire. Embarking stands must be in base-to-base contact with their carrier. The player picks where disembarked stands are placed and faced, unless they are within 1 inch of an enemy, in which the disembarking stand is automatically in close combat. When looking at carrying capacity, look at your cap. An infantry team takes up 1 cap, and vehicles have a cap that they can carry. This medium truck has a cap of 2. Finally, infantry carriers can combine to carry infantry. Combined carriers must remain within 1 inch of each other or in base-to-base contact. These two companies of light vehicles are combining their half capacities to carry an infantry company with a cap of 1. Beware, half-capacity units cannot combine to carry towed weapons though. So no, your jeeps cannot be hitched like horses to carry a 15-ton long tom battery. So what does this look like? Let's go back to our BMP-1D. Let's say it had 1 stand of engineers on board. It races across the field, into the town, and disembarks its engineers. It now only has 5 points left since it expended 2 points to disembark. The engineers have 4 points, but spend 2 to deploy. They now move into the light woods with the remainder of their movement points. The BMP-1 company rushes down the highway, but it only has 2 points left for the river crossing. So it ends its turn in the river after paying 2 points for only half an inch. Units performing Overwatch may shoot and scoot. During Overwatch, the shooting unit does not suffer the -1 penalty to hit. The firing unit moves at least 1/4 of an inch and then has a total of half of its movement to scoot. Other units that are eligible to shoot and scoot can make their half move without firing if they wish. Cohesion is rather simple. At the beginning of the movement phase, determine if the unit is within cohesion of other units. Poor and marginal troops must be within 2 inches of a friendly stand. Fair and average, 4 inches. Good and excellent, 6 inches. And superb troops, 8 inches. Stands can be intentionally moved out of cohesion, but if they move in the next turn, they must return to cohesion. A unit out of cohesion quality drops by 1 until it returns. The rules clarify that coherence can be with any unit, not just the platoon that the unit belongs to. Units with recce and base rules ignore all cohesion rules. Next time, we will finally get around to the fun part, shooting.